Coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. This is a Drinking Buddies podcast. I'm Quentin.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to our show.
On this podcast, you're going to hear about all things sports. Specifically, we're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about football. We'll talk about baseball and
the philosophy of the game. Welcome to another edition of Drinking Buddies podcast. My name is Quentin.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to our show. This episode, we're going to recap the 2024 NFL offseason, talk about the draft winners and losers. We're also going to talk about some free agent winners and losers, as well as team outlooks for our personal team favorites. That's right. So this episode is called NFL BLITZ 2025.
All right, so Quentin, we're both basketball junkies.
Absolutely.
But I'm geeked up for the football season. I mean, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan.
I'm a diehard Dolphins fan.
Too Tall Jones.
Jason Taylor.
Enough said.
That's right.
So, guys, let's get into the NFL season. For the longest, I was a unrealistic fan forever. Oh, Dallas is going to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, Dallas is going to win the Super Bowl. Guys, ain't no way. I'm total realist now. I'm total Mr. Negativity when it comes to the Cowboys. We're so horribly run. I want them to go to the Super Bowl. I want them to exceed. I want them to excel. But the reality is, if we make the playoffs, it'll be a miracle. We lost so many guys. I'm just so disappointed, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
as an outside, you're not a fan of the Cowboys.
I mean, I like the Cowboys. I like the Steelers, and I like the Texans, but the Dolphins are my team. But as far as the Cowboys, just looking at it objectively, it's really unfortunate. It's the way that Jerry Jones has interfered with their ability to actually put the right players around, their main guys that they need to,
Or even hiring the people to make those decisions on their own without him sticking his beak in there.
Right, and I do agree with that point tremendously, but I'm not as pessimistic as you are. I don't think that they would be lucky to make the playoffs. I actually think that they're going to either win the division or they're going to come second, probably to Philly. But
are they going to win enough games to get wild card?
I think so. I think so.
It's a lot of good teams this year, man. A lot of good teams.
But that's usually in the AFC. The NFC is always a toss-up. It's usually weaker. But I think Dallas is not in as dreadful a position as you think, or as you might assume.
Well,
there are some teams that are
so.
far worse run.
Their defense is still pretty damn good. They got shellacked by Green Bay in the playoffs, and I called it. I mean, all of my betting action, because some of you know this, some of you don't. I love to bet. All of it was against Dallas. I knew they were going to crap the bed so bad. It was like they were an infant. I just knew they weren't going to come with it, and I knew they were going to find a way to shit themselves, and that's what they did. So this year, if they do make the playoffs, wouldn't surprise me if that happens again.
I think they will.
But if they do, how is it going to be better? They lost players. They lost a really good running back. I'm glad they got Zeke back. I love Zeke. But tell me how that offense is going to be better this year than it was last.
Right. No, I understand that point. That's fair. All right, so let's get into some draft winners and losers. What do you think?
Segment one.
Draft
winners and losers.
That is correct. You said that very creepy.
I know. Thank you very much.
So who was your biggest draft winner this year?
You know what? I thought the Eagles had a really good draft. I thought they addressed needs. I thought they went after some prime players. Players fell into their laps. I thought the Eagles were a winner. I thought the Houston Texans were a winner. They were already so freaking amazing. Their story, if you look at the NFL storylines, obviously the Chiefs winning back-to-back was great.
Yeah.
And I was in Vegas. Thank you, Chiefs, for winning me 30 G's. I appreciate it. But to me, the Texans were the story of the playoffs. They went from nowhere, and then they get led by D'Amico Ryans, and they were amazing. And they had a great draft, too. And they went after succinct players that will help them to get even better. And then they go in the trade market, and they go and they get better that way. I think the Texans are going to be scary, dude.
I think so, too. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the team outlook. But as far as who your draft losers were. Who do you think?
Dallas.
Dallas?
I didn't like their draft at all. I thought they made some mistakes. I know they had to go after offensive line, and
I thought they had a good draft.
I didn't. I don't know. I think I'm being pessimistic.
You're being very pessimistic because Tyler Guyton is a beast. That guy is going to be a really good lineman for the Cowboys.
But is he going to be as good as
Beebe.
Is he going to be as good as Smitty? I don't think so.
No, but I think that's why they have Tyler Smith. They sort of groomed him to become that next staple of their offensive line.
I think he's an OG though, Quinn. I don't think he's an OT. I think, to me, offensive tackle, left tackle is the most important position in football, bar none. You're putting a rookie out there, and you're expecting him to go and dominate these badass defensive ends. I just don't see it. I think Smitty is a huge loss for Dallas. But now, as far as you're concerned, you tell me, because like I said, to me, Dallas lost the draft. I thought they had a couple of players that they reached for. I don't think that they had a great draft at all. But you tell me who you think your teams were, your winners and losers.
Well, I think, shockingly enough, the Cardinals. The Cardinals, to me, were the best in terms of, first of all, getting Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. That's
genius.
A steal.
Yeah.
That is a steal. He is going to do what Larry Fitzgerald did. And I know that's a bold statement, but if this kid's anything like his dad, which all signs indicate that he is, he's going to be electric.
Yeah.
They also went and got Darius Robinson in the first round, towards the end of the first round. He's 6'5", and he ran a 4.95 40 time. And this dude is a beast of a defensive end. Then in the second round, they got Max Melton, who is a cornerback out of Rutgers. That guy is going to be that was a steal in the second round. He could have been a first round pick or earlier in the second round. Trey Benson in the third round, running back out of Florida State. Okay. This kid is incredible. And to me, the Cardinals wound up having the best draft. I also had the Panthers. They got Xavier Legette in the first round.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the next coming of DK Metcalf.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, but he has this physique like DK. Maybe not as jacked or cut, but he is a big receiver that is a big-time playmaker. And then in the second round, they got Jonathan Brooks from my alma mater, UT.
Yeah.
And they also got Hookham. They also got Jatavian Sanders, the tight end from UT, in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
I mean, they stole him. And to me, the Panthers had a sneaky good draft, too.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I thought the ballsiest move in the first round was the Chiefs coming up and getting Xavier Worthy.
I agree.
Wow. I mean, they were already pretty damn good. They went out and got Hollywood Brown in the free agency.
Right.
And then you go and you add a speed demon like that kid who just set the NFL record for the 40 time.
At the Combine.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that was and they got him at a great value. Right. I mean, late first round.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that was the boldest move. To me, that was the boldest move the draft was getting Worthy.
Absolutely. I mean, people are making fun of him because he's dropping balls in training camp. But
that's what it's there for. Do it there. Don't do it in the regular season.
Right. I think with him, Rashee Rice, and with Hollywood Brown, I think that's going to be – I mean, Pat Mahomes did it last year without a strong receiving core.
And then you got Pacheco.
Another year under his belt.
And don't forget the tight end GOAT.
Travis Kelce. That's a bold statement. I don't know. Travis Kelce.
He's up there, baby.
He is.
He's up there. He's got the rings.
That's true. He's top 3. I'll give you that.
But he's not done yet.
No. As far as my draft losers, I actually have
Dallas.
The Falcons. Here's why. The Falcons took Michael Penix at 8 when they just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal.
Yeah.
That made no sense to me.
No,
Michael Penix is good, but you're going to have him sit under Cousins for 4 years?
Well, at least 2.
At least 2.
At least 2. And then what are you going to do in the 2 years with Cousins?
You're just going to
trade him.
All of that
You're
other
money.
money.
Trade him.
Right, like you're just going to eat, $90 million. I don't.
It was crazy.
Then they went and they drafted 3 defensive tackles, which, I mean, in the second round they got Rook Ahorahoro. That's a weird. Is Ahorahoro. I think is his name. Instead of getting Tavondre Sweat, they got, and I know that's biased because he's from UT as well, but he's a Longhorn. But they drafted 3 defensive tackles and 2 linebackers, and they passed on Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who I thought was
Well, and there were some guys in the draft this year that were pedigree guys, which I always talk about pedigree.
Right. And I think, especially with like Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously.
Yep.
But then you Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was there late in the draft, and they passed on him.
Yeah.
So I think the Falcons had the worst draft, in my opinion.
I think they had a pretty bad one. Like I said, I still think Dallas could have done better in some positions.
I'm not as pessimistic as you are. I think Dallas had a solid. They drafted positions of need, and like Cooper Beebe in the 2nd round, I think, or the 3rd round.
Third round. I believe he was 3rd round. Yeah.
He was a 1st round. He had a lot of, I'm a nerd. I like looking at like the mock drafts and stuff.
That's
like
how we talk about our shows. We talk about the analytics of the game.
Yeah, and he had a lot of 1st round grades from people, and they got him in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So the only thing I will say that Dallas screwed up royally is they didn't draft a running back. I will give you that. I am very concerned about their backfield. Yeah. But so that's a good transition.
Now
though.
they did get the kid that used to run for the Broncos.
They did get Royce Freeman.
Yeah. And they're saying he's doing good things in camp, or like the mini camp. So maybe that will help. And Zeke's going to be geeked up. So I guess with the couple of things that I've brought up, it might be a good time to talk about free agency.
Yes.
So, Quentin, not to beat a dead horse, but let's go ahead and segue into free agency.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but if we're going to talk about winners and losers of free agency, I'm sorry, man. My biggest loser is Dallas. They are, dude. We got Zeke back. Okay, I like that. I mean, I've got some of his rookie cards. I love Zeke, right?
I do too.
So I dig that. I think that was a good bring back, and they got him on the cheap.
Yeah.
And then they got Royce Freeman, who, he turned a few heads. He's not a world beater. Who else they get? Hendricks? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, they didn't set the world on fire. Their draft to me was subpar. It was a C at best. Then their free agency was an F. Why is it an F?
Well, I honestly don't disagree with that point, because I would grade their draft a B. I would grade their free agency an F, because they didn't address running back. I love that they brought back Zeke, but he's not the main. He can't be your main pack.
And
surely.
What about receiver? The freaking Galloway just retired.
Gallup.
I mean, Galloway.
That's a throwback.
Okay, yeah. And what about Gallup?
Yeah.
He went and retired. He got traded, he left in free agency.
Yeah.
And he stepped down.
Yeah.
They didn't address that need.
Right.
There's glaring holes. Their O-line sucks. Who do they have at backup center? I mean, these are all horrible questions that have no good answers.
Right. I feel like Dallas really whiffed in terms of finding. If they could have shored up that running back room, I'm not too concerned. I think they're going to think Turpin is going to take a step up. Who's that other receiver they have?
Well, they got the kid that
Cooks.
used to be the Tech Cooks,
Yeah.
from the Texans.
Yeah, I think
who are probably going to trounce our ass this year. I'm just being honest. The Texans are like here. If you're buying stock, this is the Texans and this is the Cowboys.
I can't disagree with that point, but I think they have a glaring hole at running back. I think I'm a little bit more optimistic about their O-line than you are, but it's fair to be concerned because it's hard to rely on rookies, right? But on a different note, who do you think had the best free agency?
Well, the Bears killed it.
Oh.
The Bears absolutely killed it.
That's a good
I mean,
point.
they went and got Swifty from the Eagles.
Time to get Swifty.
Oh, my God. That guy's going to do so much to electrify that offense, especially since you have a rookie from USC playing quarterback.
Yeah. I honestly don't believe in.
I don't either, but you know what? a great running back solves a lot of the warts on your face when you're a quarterback.
That's true.
And guess what? When you have a good running back, a almost great and an almost elite running back, that gives the quarterback so much confidence in the pocket.
Yeah.
Because he knows, look, if they're coming at me, I can dump it off to Swifty. If they're coming at me, he's got wheels too.
For sure.
This will help build confidence. I thought getting Allen. I thought getting Mr.
Keenan Allen, yeah.
Keenan Allen from the Chargers.
That's right.
was
I forgot
a
the guy.
bargain,
Yeah.
man. They picked him up. Mr. Simone Biles.
Oh, that's right.
Owens.
Jonathan Owens. That's right. Yeah, he signed with them too.
Yeah, that was cool seeing him in the Olympics cheering on Simone. I thought that was
we
cool.
love Simone Biles.
Oh yeah.
Congrats to her, man. She's amazing.
But the other thing is, Quentin, why don't we talk about what the Eagles did in getting Saquon Barkley?
Oh man, that is a game changer for them. I think that they were already really stacked, and I mean, having Swifty last year was good, but now they bring in Barkley. They will probably win the. Now that I think about it, they probably
NFC
will
East,
win
yeah.
the NFC East.
There's a shocker.
But I'm not as down on Dallas's overall.
And
team
I'm not
anymore, but
normally down on Dallas.
You're always down on Dallas.
No, man.
You're the biggest pessimist I know when it comes to Dallas.
I just have to say this, and I have to be 1,000,000%. When we were sitting there watching the draft, when Dak got picked in the 4th round, and we both thought, holy shit, this is the steal of the century as far as quarterbacks go. And he did great his first year. He got hurt. And you know what he's done, folks? Truly, the doo-doo train all the way down. I don't have any confidence in that guy when we come to the postseason. None. Zero.
Well, I mean, he is kind of like Tony Romo 2.0 in a lot of ways. I'm not a hater like you are when it comes to Prescott. I still think that this is his last season to prove that he's worth that contract that he's seeking. And they're probably going to give it to him.
I wouldn't. I don't think he's worth it. I think I would trade him. I would honestly see and you and I have talked about this off podcast before, when the Dolphins were seriously kicking the tires on him and they were dangling Tua and some other pieces and some picks, I would have done that in a heartbeat, man. In a heartbeat, I would have said.
Yeah, but
Miami.
I wouldn't have just no.
No, you wouldn't have.
I know,
but they were talking about.
I know they were,
and I would have done that in a second because he's not worth that money, folks. He's not worth $200 million to be mediocre. I'm sorry, he's not.
That's fair.
So let's get into your big winners, though. I mean, because like I already told you, the Bears, Eagles.
The biggest winner for me by far was the Texans.
Okay, talk to
They
me.
picked up Stephon Diggs.
What a bargain.
That was amazing. Then they also get Daniil Hunter, who is not washed up by any means.
He's a
still,
badass.
He is still an amazing defensive end. And they picked up Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon was a bargain. My son-in-law and his brother-in-law, huge Bengals fan, huge. Yeah. And he felt like he took a shot to the pills after that one because that guy is a beast.
Yeah.
That's gonna open up the offense for the Texans so much.
Oh my God, the Texans to me are a huge dark horse.
They are. I
think they're the biggest dark horse in the AFC.
I agree. They're not good enough yet to beat the Chiefs,
but they're getting there.
Mark the tape. 2 to 3 years, they will be in the AFC Championship. You heard it here first.
I actually think that if they keep their core, and if C.J. Stroud continues to do what he's doing, I think they could be a Super Bowl contender in 2 or 3 years.
Because Buffalo's kind of going the other way now, man.
I mean, they keep losing pieces here and there.
Badass quarterback.
Yeah.
But they're starting to go the other way.
They can't seem to put it together.
They're starting
especially when it counts.
They're starting to teeter, man.
But like I said, the Texans were my biggest winner.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
My biggest loser was actually
Dallas.
It was a tie between the Giants and the Broncos.
Wow.
The Broncos traded away Jerry Jeudy. They're kind of going into tank mode. They didn't really pick up anyone significant.
And they didn't get much for Jeudy.
They traded for Zach Wilson. So that's going to do a lot for their. That's going to do a lot for their team. But I know they drafted Bo Nix, but they picked up Wilson, and that was Jesus. But as far as the Giants are concerned, they lost Saquon.
Yeah,
and I know they picked up Brian Burns from the Panthers. They traded for him.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good deal. And they also got Isaiah Simmons. But
Simmons?
Simmons? Yeah, I think aside from that, they really didn't do much.
No.
And they got a lot worse.
Yep. And have you watched any of the Hard Knocks episodes?
No, I haven't.
I've watched a couple,
Yeah.
and they just seem kind of disorganized, man. For being like the world's biggest city, you should have the world's biggest city's football team represent what your city's about. They just look really disorganized, man.
Doesn't Daniel Jones look like the type of movie actor they would cast for the opposing team's quarterback? Right? He kind of looks like that. Yeah.
Oh man, I'd rather have Anthony Michael Hall from Johnny Be Good than him, man.
Would you rather have Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott?
Well, that's like either Bunga Bunga or Death by Bunga Bunga. I look, Dak's good for $20 million a year. He's good for $25 million a year. He ain't good for no $200 million a year or $200 million for 4 years.
No one's good for
$50 million bucks a year. Come on, man. That's a joke of a contract.
Right.
He wants all this money. Where are the skins? Give us some victories. Then you're worth that kind of money. But I mean, the guy can't get us out of the damn first round of the playoffs, and they got their ass rung up by Green Bay. And I knew they were going to lose. I knew it. Everybody was like, "Oh no, Dallas going to win." I'm like, nope. Every bet I won, Dallas losing and covering the points. I mean, it was ridiculous.
This actually is a nice time to segue once again into our team outlooks.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, my team is the Dolphins. Your team is the Cowboys.
Yes.
My brother's team is the Steelers.
And
my sister's team is the Texans. And then my other sister's team is the Bengals.
But that's only by virtue of her husband's team being the Bengals.
That's right. So we're not going to talk about the Bengals. I'm sorry. They've had a doo-doo off season.
They have, but you still have Joe Burrow, and you still have a really incredible receiver in Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah.
So you start. I want you to talk about your Dolphins because I'm excited for them. You kind of do the same shit I do, mister. I don't know why you're over there giving me shit about being all pessimistic about the Cowboys. You got fucking Reek Hill, who's a bad son of a bitch. You got an awesome quarterback to me in Tua. That guy can get things done. You got running backs galore. You got Mostert.
Yeah.
How can you not be excited about the Dolphins and thinking, man, this could be our year to go to the Super Bowl or at least the AFC Championship? Come on.
It's because of how many players they lost on defense.
Okay.
So they lost Christian Wilkins to Oakland, or Las Vegas, rather.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I know. It's hard.
Yeah. They lost Van Ginkel to the Vikings, and they lost Jerome Baker to the Seahawks. That's a huge blow to their defense. And I know they picked up Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
I know they picked up Jordan Brooks from the Seahawks, but and they picked up Jordan Poyer from the Titans, I think. But they lost so many big names. Like those guys that they replaced him with, Calais Campbell's like 100 years old. I think...
But he still has a motor, dude.
Yes,
Last year he did well.
He's a Hall of Famer. But the problem is they had one of the best defenses last year. And that's really what made them scary. Because even though they have all of those weapons, they have Waddle, they have Hill, they have Mostert, they have Achane, they're going to be good offensively.
Yeah.
But my problem is,
Their
I hope
offense
they don't.
and
But
their
their
defense
defense
are not gonna
My
be.
problem is, I hope they don't go from the no-name defense to the no-one defense. Right? Like there's no one left from them. Right? No more defense.
Yeah.
So I'm really. That was a really lame joke. I apologize to everyone. I'm really concerned about their defense. So yes, I think that they're going to put up a good number of points, but I don't know how much they're going to be. You know, but honestly, I think the Dolphins are in a position where they could be in the playoffs, right? Like they're pretty securely one of a playoff contending
The
team,
offense alone gets them there.
but the defense doesn't take them any further.
Unless you have some people that sprout up and do their jobs.
Like Phillips, Jalen Phillips, if he turns into the Jalen Phillips we saw his rookie season, then yeah, their defense is going to be in a better position. If Jordan Brooks can step up, which he's a pretty solid linebacker, right?
Yeah. And if Calais Campbell gives you a solid season, that helps a lot too, Quinn. I mean, those are things that will definitely buoy your team and get them moving.
It does. So you've already talked a little bit about your gripes with Dallas.
Yeah.
Give me some optimism here, man. What do you think the ceiling is for the Cowboys?
Honestly, they're playing 17 games, right?
Yes.
I could see them going 9-8.
That's it?
Yeah.
You think that's their ceiling?
I think their ceiling is 10 games and 7 losses. Have you seen that schedule?
It's pretty brutal.
It's, man, that's brutal as brutal gets.
Yeah.
I just, look, I'm excited to get Zeke back, okay?
Yeah.
That goes without saying. And I think he ran like a man possessed at times for New England. And if you look at the way Dallas played last year, inside the 20, really inside the 10 is when they had their biggest problems scoring. They didn't know whether to throw it, whether to run it. Pollard just would seem to get log jammed. He couldn't quite get things done.
Yeah, well, he's not a goal line back.
No, he's not, but he's a speed demon, and he's a good fire and ice combination with Zeke. But
I think they messed up getting rid of Zeke last year. I think they should have kept him.
well, but he wanted too much. So then what happened was he played out all his options, and he had to go to dirt cheap. I think he made $5 million or less than $5 million to go to the Patriots. But he proved his value, came back to Dallas, didn't get a giant contract, didn't get greedy. And I'm glad he's going to play there, and I think it's going to help a lot. And
Do you
I
think he's going to be their feature back, or do you think he's going to be their change of pace back?
I would make him the feature back, but I don't know that they will because he's already on the other side of 30 now.
Yeah.
So Freeman's a good change of pace back. But the thing is you were right with what you alluded to, that they didn't even try to draft somebody.
Right.
And
I was really hoping they would take Jonathan Brooks. I think he would have fit really nicely with that backfield.
Yeah. It's just, to me, my outlook, honestly, I think we're going to win 10 games. I think
They said
I said 9-8, but I think 10-7 is really, if
That's
they
fair.
do that, I'll be happy. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, dude. I really don't. I don't trust Dak at all, and I definitely think that Dallas would be better served letting him go. I really do. I love CD Lamb. I thought that was an incredible
They
thing.
need to pay him.
They do. And then not only that, but how about that badass defensive player that we got?
Michael Parsons, man.
What a steal.
I told you when we drafted him, or when y'all drafted him.
What a steal he wound up being. He's the most elite, dynamic,
Pass rusher.
game-changing defensive player, I think, of anybody.
Right.
I think anybody would, if you're starting a defensive fantasy team, he's the number one pick in the draft.
For sure.
So, like I said, even with Dallas losing a few pieces here and there, I think their defense is going to be formidable.
Yes.
I think losing their defensive coordinator sucks. He went to Washington.
Who did they get to replace him?
God, I'm drawing a blank. I forget who they got. But
I thought it was someone good, though.
I don't know. But there's, to me,
Their coaching has been a problem.
That guy fit the scheme and what they want to
Yes,
do.
I think
Well, the problem is when you have a new defensive coordinator, they might want to change the scheme. They might want to change from a 3-4 to a 4-3. There's lots of different things. Maybe they go to a 5-2. There's a lot of different things that can go on. And some of these guys, they can't play every one of those schemes effectively. So I think it's going to hurt them having this guy come in and not be able to give them everything that their former DC did. I just think that between that and McCarthy, I think he's a sitting duck coach.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get fired at the end of this year. I'm not kidding. Look, maybe I'm pie in the sky, or to me, I value veteran leadership. I would have said, here's a checkbook. Here's a contract by Jerry Jones saying, I'll keep my fat ass out of your meetings. Bill Belichick, will you come over here and will you bring your staff and help me win a goddamn championship? That's what I would have done. I absolutely would have done that. They didn't. They decided to stick with McCarthy. I think he's going to get fired. Bill didn't sign up with anybody. He's going to do TV. I think he would be a hell of a pickup, man. And he can bring in his coaches, and he can make that thing
I can't
happen.
be in favor of that move because I'm a Dolphins fan and I've always hated the Patriots.
Of course.
I'm just gonna have to agree to disagree with you on that. So let's talk about one more team.
Okay.
Actually, no, we'll talk about two. Let's talk about my brother Drake, his team, the Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep.
They always seem to do things under the radar that turn out really well for them. They're a lot like the San Antonio Spurs in terms of their front office.
Yeah.
Patrick Queen going to the Steelers.
That was
to
a great pickup.
was one of the most underrated signings of free agency.
I agree with that. But then you have the other side of the coin, Russell Wilson.
Well, see, here's the thing though. I know that looks bad. But getting Justin Fields was a stroke of genius, and here's why. Because Russell Wilson is washed. Everyone knows that, right? He can groom a guy like Fields who can take over mid-season. And to me, Fields, the Bears gave up on him. You know, and I know why, because they had the first pick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, except in my opinion, Caleb Williams is not going to turn into any kind of superstar.
And he won't even do what Luck did, I don't think.
No,
I don't think so.
But I think Fields can really have a good
I thought
career
he had
with,
flashes of brilliance with the Bears.
He had a good season last year.
He just had, you know what? I don't trust the Bears' shitty coach. I don't, man.
I don't.
I
they
think-
made all the right moves this offseason.
You're going to probably one of the top 3 coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
Mike Tomlin, but he's steady.
So that helps you.
Talk about
They
a
have
consistent
good pieces around them.
organization.
They have a good running back scheme. They have damn good receivers.
Chuck Noll, to Bill
Pickens-
Cowher to
Pickens
Mike
is a
Tomlin.
hell of a receiver.
Oh my God, the Steelers, man, they're always in positions where they retool,
And they get
right?
players
TJ
that
Watt.
the other teams, they just screw up and don't get.
Yeah.
And please don't get me on Watt. when I was at that damn draft party and we took Taco fucking Charlton over Watt.
Yeah, we took Harris.
I wanted to vomit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we're going to get Watt. We're going to get Watt.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the Cowboys when they picked up Greg Ellis instead of Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Just, that's why I'm telling you guys.
The Steelers front office.
I hearken for the days of this guy.
The Steelers, their front office is undeniably excellent.
They're
right?
Spurs-like.
They are Spurs-like. And I think they'll have a sneaky good season. They're a couple years away. It all depends on how Fields develops. But
Yeah.
I think he's the right guy for them.
What a coach to have that
Oh, yeah.
opportunity with, too.
Oh, for sure. So, to my brother, I hate that your Steelers always get so lucky, man. It's not luck.
They're like
it's not
Kramer.
luck, but
they
yeah.
fall ass backwards into money.
Yeah.
They mooch food off their friends, and they have sex without dating.
Yeah.
That's a fantasy game. All right.
Hashtag Seinfeld.
Hashtag Seinfeld. One of the greatest comedies ever in the history of television.
That was the greatest, but greatest sitcom in my opinion.
Yep.
So, last team I want to talk about, the Houston Texans.
Okay. The rich getting richer as far as that team goes. Yep.
Our producer is a giant
Jada,
Texans fan.
Is a diehard Texans fan.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
We're trying to sway her on the Rockets thing. We're trying to bring her to San Antonio 210 Spurs town.
Yeah, but we're not going to move her on the Texans.
No, that's immovable. Yep.
And I think, and my youngest sister is a Texans fan too.
Yes, Mackenzie.
They have suffered for so long.
Yeah.
But they're finally in a position where they're.
They finally got good front office folks.
Yes. And D'Amico Ryans, I love that guy. I loved when he played. Like it's crazy. I remember him getting drafted.
Yeah.
And it was same as the Mario Williams draft, right?
Yeah.
And 06.
It was, and he was a hell of a defensive coordinator
Yes.
after that.
Yeah. And then, he was a hell of a player, and then he became a really good DC.
Because not all players translate into good coaches. This guy's got his shit
especially
together,
defensive
man.
players, right? Like a lot of they'll turn into pretty good, like player coaches or off like defensive coordinators. But I mean, that's not true because I mean, like Ron Rivera was an offensive lineman, right?
He was an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Usually the offensive players are the more like coach-oriented players.
Yeah, but the thing is if you look at D'Amico Ryan's resume, all the great things he did. I mean, like they didn't even have a first round pick this year because they had those 2 picks last year.
Yeah. They still had a good draft.
had a damn good draft. That's why I'm so hard on Dallas because we had a first round pick. We had opportunities to move up at the end of the first round that we didn't take advantage of. And it's like, guys, what are you waiting on? Houston's kicking your ass right now as far as moves, as far as free agency, as far as draft capital, and the quarterback.
C.J. Stroud.
They didn't even get him with the number 1 friggin' pick, man.
What they did last year, no, but not just that.
And they got the best defensive player
Will
last year.
Anderson, man. Him and Hunter, that's going to be a formidable defensive line,
but
dude.
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is they went and they held their nuts, and they went and they got a top pick so they could go get that kid from Georgia to pair up with
Alabama.
Well, yeah, from Alabama. My
Yeah.
bad. I don't know why I said Georgia, but
because Georgia's a defensive factory, defensive player factory.
But the thing is, that guy is formidable. They had it off. I mean, they did their scouting right because really, if you look at the 2 quarterbacks that were the
Bryce
top,
Young and C.J. Stroud.
Young and Stroud, there's no comparison that Stroud's better. If you watch the national championship game, I'm sorry, but Stroud was hurting, and that guy came out and kicked ass.
Yeah.
Kudos to Houston for doing a damn good job with their scouting department and continuing to do so. And then free agency.
Yeah, free agency. Getting Stephon Diggs to pair him up with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Can they get Joe Mixon to pair with Damian Pierce?
Yeah, and they even lost Singletary.
But they
have
Damian Pierce.
Yeah, I know.
And he's a goal line back. You get Joe
look
Mixon.
At the shit. Look at the damage they did with Singletary.
Yeah.
Singletary's good, but he ain't no Mixon.
No. Not at all.
Oh my God! And their O line is stout.
Yeah, Larry Tunsil, who is a former Dolphin, but to be fair, we did win that trade.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it wound up turning into so many players.
Yeah, for sure.
Including Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So, on that note, let's get into the next segment, Q&A with Q&A.
That would be us. All right. So, how about this? Do you want to ask the question first?
Yes.
You have? All right, go for it.
Are the Chiefs going to three-peat?
Well, folks, let me tell you this. I live by flying by the seat of my pants. I've done it most of my life, and I do that when I bet. When my wife and I went to Vegas for the Super Bowl, I put out a large bet. I took the Chiefs, no points. I won almost $20,000. I doubled down again. I put $5,000 on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl and three-peat. Yes, a three-peat's never happened. That's why I think it's going to happen. And that's going to pay $35,000. So I'm pretty excited about that. My gut tells me the Chiefs have so much. They're deep. Yes, they've lost a couple of players, but look what they've gotten besides Hollywood Brown. They pick up Xavier Worthy in the draft. Chris Jones is arguably top 5 defensive player in the NFL. They're deadly. That team, and then we haven't even talked about Pat Mahomes. That's exactly why I felt that the Chiefs would repeat last year, for this past season.
And now they add the arsenal of weapons that they do with.
You give Pat what he was missing, which is 2 badass deadly
and they
receivers.
still won.
Who can you double team on this team?
You can't.
Just name one guy. Ain't gonna happen.
No,
ain't gonna happen. Hollywood Brown deep, Xavier Worthy deep. You could have Kelsey
Rashid
up the
Rice.
middle. You got Rice. You can't stop them all. And if you can stop all the receivers, you got Pacheco.
Yeah.
You go put a linebacker on Pacheco? Good luck with that one. But anyway, I think they're going to three-peat, guys. I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
I put $5,000 on it. And I feel like I'm going to get my money and then some. So I think to answer your question and just put a bow on it, Chiefs will three-peat.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't disagree with that.
Cool.
I actually think that they're going to three-peat as well.
All
I think
right.
that they're the best team in football. They proved it last year because without that receiving core, they still dominated. They coasted throughout the season. Pat Mahomes made everyone think, oh, maybe he's not as good as they. No, they coasted the whole year. And then when it came to the playoffs, dominated.
Yeah, they did what the Lakers, great teams, and what the Spurs, great teams, used to do, where they'd kind of like jog, right? Jog through the season, and then all of a sudden, when the playoffs,
Turn it
sprint,
on.
baby,
Yep.
sprint for the end zone. That's what's going to happen with the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question for you, big guy.
Okay.
It's kind of a two-pronged question. How good do you think the Texans will be in their second year under DeMeco Ryans? Give me like a one-loss record that you think they're going to pull, how far they'll get in the playoffs. And then the second part of that question is, who's going to have the better year, Dallas or the Texans?
Well, let me answer that second question first. I think Houston's going to have a better season. I think
I
Houston's the
agree.
better team.
And it hurts.
And
It hurts for me to say that.
It doesn't hurt me to say that because I'm a Dolphins fan. So I'm just going to put it plainly. The Texans are going to be the better team. They're too deep. I mean,
Too many weapons.
Too many weapons.
On both sides.
And they just added. They just got better.
And well coached.
And they have a good,
Not by a
organization.
big Jiminy Luminix like we got.
Yeah. So to answer that, yes, I think the Texans are going to be better. As far as their record, I can see them going 13-4.
Wow, that's a bold
I
statement.
think they
my
could
man.
go 13-4. I think that they're going to surprise people this year. Now, how deep in the playoffs can they go? I think they can make. I guarantee you, if they get to the second round,
They did that last year.
they could win and go to the AFC Championship. I'm
If they
making a
can avoid
prediction.
the Chiefs. If they can avoid the Chiefs,
I'm
until
making a
then.
prediction, and if I'm wrong, I'll chug some alcohol at some point, probably.
There's a shocker, right, folks?
I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah, but I play one on TV.
Right. So, what was I saying?
See, folks, we haven't even started drinking yet.
Yeah, I know, right.
Oh, just about how far the Texans are going to
that's
go.
right. I'm making a prediction that they'll make it to the AFC Championship this year,
And they're going to play the Chiefs.
and they're going to lose to the Chiefs.
How close is it going to be?
Not very close, but
You think they're going to horsewhip them?
I think the Chiefs are going to horsewhip everyone.
Yeah.
So-
I think they look just so good,
Yes.
dude. They just look so good.
I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, and I think the Texans are going to make the AFC Championship.
Yep. I think those are some good, strong statements. I could see the Texans winning 12 games.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think they're good enough. I think they're good enough to beat Baltimore. I think they're
I
good
think
enough
so.
to beat the Bengals. I think they're good enough to beat the Bills.
Yeah.
I don't think they're good enough to beat the Chiefs yet.
No.
Yet.
No.
Yet. All right. Well, that was a good talk, buddy.
That was.
Good conversation. All right. Well, Mr. Quentin, it's time to do
Sippin' Trivia. All right. Today we're drinking some Enzyme Red Mango. This is a local, I think. Yeah, it's really nice. So let me go ahead and ask you the first question.
Go for it. I'd love to try to answer it.
Who has the all-time record for most wins as a head coach?
Don Shula?
Yes. That's it. It was a biased question. He's an adult. You should have figured, right?
No, but you know what? I was thinking Belichick, but he's just short.
He's number 2.
Yep. And Tom Landry's got to be in the top 5.
He's number 5.
Yeah. All right. So Quentin, you're a Dolphins fan.
Yes. Oh God.
What's your mascot's name?
Well, isn't it Ace Ventura?
No,
No.
dickhead.
Oh wait.
What's his name? We know he's a
no.
Dolphin, but what's his name? Wow. Even I know my fucking Cowboys fan's name is
Well,
Rowdy.
yeah, everyone knows a Rowdy.
TD.
I did
Take
not-
another sip. We're gonna get him hammered, folks. yeah.
All right.
Your turn, sir.
You said there was no team to ever three-peat in the common era or the modern era. There actually is one team that three-peated twice. Which team is that?
The Browns.
Incorrect.
Packers?
Yes.
I knew it was one or the other.
Yeah.
I
In
know.
1929, 1930, and 1931, and then in 65,
That's pretty
66,
good.
and 67, the Packers repeated.
Shitski.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was one or the other. I knew it was the Browns or the Packers.
But as far as they count it, like in the modern era, there's never been a team to three-peat. So,
All right, Mr. Dolphins fan.
Oh, Jesus. You're going to make me look bad.
No. Who holds the record for the most passing completions as a Dolphins quarterback with 358 completions?
Dan Marino?
Wrong, sir.
Oh, wait.
Wrong. The guy that you despised as a
Ryan
quarterback.
Tannehill?
Tannehill. Your Aggies fans are going to be so happy that you despise Ryan Tannehill. 350,
Aggies fans don't have to watch this show. I'm just kidding.
358.
I hate
That's
I hate
amazing that he did that.
Okay,
That's
so
a lot
A
of.
little bit of backstory. The reason I'm salty about Ryan Tannehill to this day
I already
is
know why.
Because Luke Kuechly.
Kuechly.
I said Luke Kuechly should have been their pick. And I know his career got cut short by injuries, but he's a Hall of Famer. And we drafted Ryan Tannehill instead. So that's all I'm saying. All right.
You're 0 for my man.
I know.
I've split the uprights at least.
I'm feeling it. No. I'm not. Here's my question to you.
Go.
Who is the only player in NFL history to win Super Bowl MVP on the losing team?
Chuck Howley of the Dallas Cowboys.
See?
Don't mess with a Cowboys fan. Just because I'm down on them for the season don't mean I don't know my shit, folks.
God, you swept me on that one.
Well, yeah, I did.
You wiped the floor with me.
Yeah. That's what you get. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Hook 'em horns.
Hook boards.
All right, so now I got a question for you.
Oh, Jesus.
You might have to drink
I
mine.
might have to pour.
I might have to pour some more for you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I was going to be a mean father and give you this one. The longest run of 97 yards by a Dolphins running back was who? But I'm not going to do that to you.
Ricky?
No, because you see, you would have been drinking.
Yeah.
Give him the wow wow, Miha. Give him the wow wow wow. Yeah. Lamar Miller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten that one, so I didn't want to be a dick. So.
Thank you.
So, but I am going to ask you this, and I love Ricky Williams. The Dolphins have had some damn good running backs
Yeah.
throughout their history, but which running back has the most rushing yards for their career?
As a Dolphin?
Uh-huh.
Is it Ronnie Brown? Oh, wait, no. Larry Zonka?
It's Larry Zonka, but you
What?
said it late. You fucked up. Here's some more.
All right.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ricky Williams. Look at this guy. Don't give him a field sobriety test because he won't pass. On behalf of Drinking Buddies, I'm Alex.
You said
This dude's fucking hammered. Buddy.
I'm not hammered, but I am buzzed.